Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the sanctuary this beautiful November Sunday morning. I'm Mike Robertson, the woolly, if not wild, pastor at the sanctuary, and I want to thank you for being here with us this morning. It's always great to know that you're there. I love seeing you pop up in the comments box and speak to each other and fellowship with each other. We've got to stay in touch. We've got to stay together and encourage each other and lift each other up. Or we're not going to be able to make it through this. But we're doing good so far. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're excited. It's the holiday season. It's here already. And I know for a lot of us, we're very hopeful that the holiday season is going to represent a change, that there's going to be improvement and progress. And we hope that's the case, that it won't be very much longer before we can get together. But it's not yet. Check the news. The news is not that good, but we wait. We'll be patient for the time when we can be here in this place as one. All right. I don't know if you watched Mac's video this morning. It should be right close to this one on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. He came to the church last night to shoot this video, and so I was watching it, and I thought, wow, he really went all out to make this authentic, because the song is called "The Stage is Bare," and it starts off, and he's standing by the piano, and there's dust on the top of the piano, and he wipes his hand across. I thought, man, he used props and everything, set, dressing. He really went all out. Well, then I got here this morning and I discovered there's dust everywhere. There's dust on every surface in this room. Why? Well, folks, it's because this week we started on the bathroom project. And the first part of the project was demolition. It was taking out the existing walls of the bathrooms in the back of the auditorium. I went back there this morning. This is what they look like now. So they just about got everything torn out. And that means now they're going to start putting in new, clean, bright, fresh stuff. So it's happening. I can't tell you, it's got to be at least 2 years since we started this project, started talking about, we got to get this done. We need to get this done. How do we move forward? It's been a long, frustrating process, but it's happening. And as you can see, we got to finish now. We can't leave it like this. So I'm excited to see what happens in the days to come. By the next time we meet together, we should have brand new bathrooms, and it's going to be great. Our church is going to look so much better. But for now, we're dealing with a little bit of dust in here from the demolition. So if I have a coughing spell this morning or something, it's because it's very dusty in here. I tried dusting around me, but there's a lot of it. I want to remind you of a thing that's coming up in just under a month now. Our outreach project for our community, our gift to Terrytown and the surrounding city, is our drive-by Santa experience. Will be 2 nights, December 20th and 21st, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. both nights. You should have got an email this week from Lisa and Brandy telling you what we need, how we need your help to make this project go. It's going to be good. We've started publicizing it, and people will get excited about it. People we don't even know are saying, I'm going to this. This sounds great. So we're hoping it will be an effective outreach and just a real time of sharing and wonderment. And as I said, our gift to the community of Terrytown. So please go back and look at that email. Get in touch with Brandy or Lisa and let them know what you want to do to help. We'll be contacting you more in the weeks to come, but that's going to be a great thing. Then finally, I want to remind you that this Wednesday night, we will not have our regular Zoom fellowship. Wednesday is the night before Thanksgiving, and I know you'll be baking desserts, of course, I hope, and maybe basting the turkey and getting things ready. So don't forget, no Zoom this Wednesday night. Don't show up. It's going to be a lonely chat because you're going to be the only one there. Don't show up this Wednesday night. We'll resume the following Wednesday night. And then, of course, I hope on Thursday, I hope that you will have a wonderful Thanksgiving. It may not be the Thanksgiving we all thought we would have this year. You may not get to be with as many people as you thought, or the exact people you wished you could be with. But there are always things to be thankful for. There are always things in every situation that we can give thanks to God for. So have a blessed day on Thursday. Rejoice in the good things that have happened to you. Forget the bad things that have happened to you. Ask for comfort in those things. But enjoy the time you have with the people that you're able to have around you. And if you can't have anybody around you, just know that you are loved. You are loved by this family that we call the sanctuary. Have a great Thanksgiving. All right, let's get to the message. Told you it's dusty. There's a verse that's very familiar. You've heard it many times probably. It's from the book of Hebrews in the New Testament, Hebrews chapter 12. And it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." Now, the three things that are mentioned right there are the cloud of witnesses. Who is that? Well, it's the people who have gone before us. It's also the other members of your community. There's a group of people who are watching you and cheering for you. And then it says, lay aside the weight. What is that? Folks, usually the weight that we carry around is unforgiveness, our inability to forgive someone for a perceived wrong. That is just like tying chains and barbells around your ankles and expecting to run a good race. Put aside that weight. Put aside those chains. Don't think about the cloud of witnesses. Instead, concentrate on the race. Concentrate on the prize. Yeah, there's a cloud of witnesses that have laid the groundwork for you to run your race. But you may have trained by carrying that weight around, but boy, when it's time to run, you've got to set it aside. You've got to let it go. And you got to focus on the prize. That's what I want to talk about this morning is the prize. What's at the finish line of this race? What are we striving for? What is this race all about? Is it a rat race? Is it a race to oblivion? No, it's the human race, and we all have to run it. Now, I'm going to talk about races today. Look at me. How many races do you think I've won? I did win a pie eating contest in college once. Not quite the same thing. I almost won a race one time that would have been just perfect for me. It was many, many years ago, and I was a record collector, and there was a contest on a radio station in the town where I was living, and they said, if you're selected to be the winner of this drawing, you'll get a 2-minute record spree in this local record shop at the mall. And in 2 minutes, you can go around and gather up as many albums as you can. Just can't get two of the same one, you have to be selective. But as many albums as you can get in 2 minutes. Well, I thought, this has my name all over it. And sure enough, I got into the semifinals. And finally, they had the drawing, and I got the call from the radio station. They said, you're the runner-up. If the person who won the contest, if they don't show up at the record store tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., then you can go in their place. If they don't show up, you get to do the record race. And so, boy, believe you me, I was there early. In fact, I went there the night before. I went there Friday night and cased the joint. And I went to the record store, and I went to the Bees, and I thought, okay, if I want the entire Beatles catalog, I put them together so that I could grab a handful at once and not get two of the same one. Same thing with the Beach Boys and the band and the Bee Gees and so on through all the records. I had them all arranged so that I could just sweep through there like locusts and strip all the records out of the record store, pretty much. The next morning, I'm there 30 minutes early, pacing in the mall. It's 5 minutes until 10. I'm thinking, okay, nobody's here. I haven't seen anybody show up yet. Maybe it's going to happen. Maybe I'm going to get to do it. And then about 3 minutes before 10 o'clock, this family comes in, and there's an old guy who has won the contest. I say old guy. He was younger than I am now, but at the time I was 20, 25. So he seemed really old to me, and I thought, this old guy is going to do the record race? And so he goes in with his family. They explain the rules. You can only have one of each album, You can't just grab wanton handfuls. And they said, all right, you'll have 2 minutes. Are you ready? He was ready. They said, go. When they said go, this man ambled over to the records, started flipping through them. Okay. Oh, I'll take this one. Okay. And I was sitting there climbing the walls going, oh, come on, this could have been me. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. That's about the only race I ever came close to winning. So I don't know a whole lot about racing, but I do know a few things. I want to share those this morning. First of all, when you're racing, you got to know where the finish line is. You can run and run and run, but unless you know where you're heading, you won't finish the race. One of my favorite clips from Monty Python's Flying Circus illustrates this so well. It's an Olympic event. It's called the 100-yard dash for people with no sense of direction. And so you see these guys, and they're all warming up, and they're getting down in the blocks in their starting positions. Take your places, gentlemen. And then the starter raises his gun, and they're off. Now, that's just silly. It's just ridiculous. And it's exactly how so many people live their life. Oh, they're busy. They're always going. I got to keep moving. I can't rest. I got to keep moving. Where are you going? I don't know, but I want to get there soon. Well, unless you know where you're going, you're not going to get there at all, in most likelihood. It's how so many people go through life. They're terrified to quit running, but having no idea where they're heading or why. And for people like that, the finish line is going to come as a big, big surprise. Have you ever heard this description of Christopher Columbus? When he left Spain, he didn't know where he was going. When he got to America, he didn't know where he was. And when he got back home, he didn't know where he had been. And this is our great explorer, folks. Many of us are like that. We've done something with our lives. We're just not real sure what it was. I just tried to keep busy. I just don't want to be idle. That's not enough. The second thing I know about racing, besides knowing what the finish line is and where it is, the second thing I know about racing is this. You got to be careful where you look. You got to watch where you're going when you're running a race. And there's some things that you need to be aware of. And the first thing is you don't need to look at your feet. You ever see anybody run like this? No, you won't. Or at least you won't see them win. You may run into a post. If you're not watching where you're going, it will make you second guess every step you take if you run looking at your feet. Second guess every step you take. You know anybody like that? I do. They make a decision, they get all proud of themselves for making a decision, and then they start saying, wait, is that the right decision? Am I going the right way? Am I doing this correctly? When they start looking at their feet, they're going to break their stride, and they may break something else. We lose focus. You remember the story of Peter? When he saw Jesus walking on water, he thought, I want to do that. And he jumped out of the boat, and he did it. Until when? Until he started thinking about it, and he looked down at his feet. And that's when he began to sink. See, when we focus on each little step we take, we lose sight of the finish line. Another thing that we need to be aware of when you run the race of life, don't look back. Don't look back. The great baseball player Satchel Paige was famous for saying wise things like this. One of his sayings was, don't look back. Something may be gaining on you. Look at this guy. He's looking behind him just to see if something is gaining on us. What are the things that are behind us? Well, our past. Memories of times we have failed in the past. That's right there. What if that catches up with me? I better look and see. Now, you might be running very well, but when you start thinking, what about that thing back there? You're cruising for a fall. Or the people behind us. If we turn and look at the other racers, nothing good can come out of it. Now, you've probably seen videos of people racing, and they look back one way, and a guy comes around them on the other way, and he never even sees the guy. We forget the finish line when we're constantly looking back. Another thing I know about running a successful race is don't look at the spectators. Those people are not in the race. If they could do what you could do, well, maybe they'd be on the track too. There's an awful lot of quarterbacks sitting up in the bleachers at the football game, and most of them have never been on the field, but they're experts. They know how you should do it, even if they've never done it. A lot of folks would like to tell you how you should run your race. Oh, and maybe they're cheering you. Maybe they're cheering, but it might not be for you. You can't let the crowd affect how you run your race. Here's one of those clips that's similar to what I was talking about a minute ago. This is an Olympic race, and this young guy is way out in front of everybody, and he's got it won. And he starts to celebrate. And the crowd is cheering, and he's telling them, yes, get up and cheer for me. And watch what happens. He's way out in front. Come on, everybody, let's hear it for me. And right to the last. And so you can see where he sees the monitor right there. Oh, there's somebody else there. How many times do you think this young man has relived that race in his mind and thought, if only I hadn't started playing to the crowd. If only I hadn't counted that victory before it was mine. If only I had concentrated on running the race and not what the spectators were thinking. Be careful who you take advice from, who you listen to. You know, we all get asked for advice. And I got to tell you, most of the time, 98% of the time, people don't take our advice. They don't value our advice. I've decided just in the past couple of weeks, I'm going to stop telling people you need to watch this movie or read this book or listen to this album, because on the whole, they don't do it. Even if I say, this will make your life better. Nah, I'm good. Be careful who you take advice from. We are so wise, we think. Our advice is so golden, and yet a lot of times people are not going to listen to our advice. Well, don't look at the spectators, but the other thing is, don't look at the other racers either. Why? Well, you start to compare yourself to them. Look at that guy's stride. Look at the way he's pacing. Look how fast he's going. You start to compare yourself to them. The race of life, though, is a very unusual one. We each have to run it in our own way. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. Mistakes are made when we see somebody else doing a good job and we think, well, maybe I should just run like them. And we try to run in their footsteps, copying them. And boy, it does not work out, because that's not our race. That's their race. Or maybe we're running really well and we think, I'm doing really good, and somebody speeds by us in a three-piece suit with dress shoes on or high heels. We think, wait, I'm really giving my all here, and they just ran by me in high heels? Don't look at the other racers. Their race is different from yours. Don't emulate another person's journey, not even your pastor or teacher or guru or the wisest person you've ever met. If you follow somebody else's footsteps, you're going to wind up at a destination that is not yours. You're going to go to the wrong finish line if you base your life on another person. Certainly don't base it on me. When I'm running the race, I'm very easily strayed off the path into the stickers and the barbed wire. Don't follow me. I'm just trying to make it to the finish line. Don't look at the other racers. Well, then, what are we supposed to look at then? Well, the very next verse in Hebrews, after that encouragement from Paul that says, keep in mind there's a cloud of witnesses. Throw off all those weights that are holding you. Run the race with this in mind. The next verse he says, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is now set down at the right hand of the throne of God. Well, here's who we look at when we run the race. We look at Jesus, the author and finisher. Author. He started the race, the author, and he ended the race, the finisher of our faith. He ran it perfectly. The only person who has ever run it perfectly. So if you want to emulate somebody, if you want to keep your eyes on somebody as you're running, there is only one answer. You want to learn how to love people? Imitate Jesus. You want to learn how to be a good friend to somebody? Imitate Jesus. You want to learn how to have healthy relationships with other people? Imitate Jesus. As you run the race, keep your eyes on the prize that is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you for being here this morning. I think about you all the time. I'm praying for you. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. And if we can help you in any way, please let us know. We'll see you next Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving.